Here at Fort Cobb Marina, things are slow. And for a hot August afternoon, well, this just isn't normal. You see, Fort Cobb Reservoir is a recreational center for thousands of Oklahomans. But since they've started spraying the controversial chemical 2,4-D, attendance, well, it's dropped considerably. Chris George is in charge of the cash register at the marina. He's only had a few customers this week. He's using his slack time to check his throw line.
Well, at the first of the summer, we were pretty busy. But here lately, it's been slowing down. And I've been doing a little fishing. I enjoy that. And I guess people are afraid to come down here since they put that chemical in the lake. People come in here and tell me that they won't eat the fish because they sprayed that chemical in here and they're afraid that the fish might eat that chemical. But I don't let it bother me. I eat the fish.
George says he's in favor of what the government's doing because he feels if the weed isn't destroyed, it will ruin the lake. The majority of people who drink the water also favor the application. But Citizens Against 2,4-D are advising people not to drink the water because they feel it will cause serious health problems. Ben McCain, Action 4, Fort Cobb Reservoir.
At 5:30 this evening, hundreds of teachers poured out of the doors at St. Luke's Methodist Church. They were smiling, laughing, and seemed to be in good spirits. Later, president of the local teachers union, Dave Renfro, came out to announce the good news: the tentative contract had been passed. He says the whole package is good, but some points stand out.
The salary increases were a major improvement over last year and over the years besides last year's in the past. And I think that there are other gains that are made that they recognize as substantial gains for them in the classroom. For instance, the teacher's discipline procedure for disciplining students is greatly improved, and that's going to help them in instructing the students. Safety has been improved so that not only will the teacher safety be better provided for, but also the students.
The general mood going into the teachers' vote was that it would pass, and the same held true for tonight's school board meeting. Several board members thought it was the best contract they'd ever had and voted unanimously to accept it. Salary increases are the largest in the history of the Oklahoma City public school system, and Renfro says taxpayers will not bear the burden of the hike. There's plenty of money in existing reserves. Carol Lambert, Action 4. Teachers are already in the classrooms, getting ready for when the kids come back to school next week. For the first time in a long time, they're returning to work with what they feel is a favorable contract. Raises are ranging from $1,600 to over $3,000. Local AFT President Dave Renfro says the criteria used to determine these raises has not changed.
The AFT firmly believes that there should be a financial reward for staying with the system. I think loyalty should be paid for. The teachers last year at the top end of the salary schedule got $2,800. This year there is a division within the amount of money at the top end of the salary schedule simply because we reduced a step. The highest amount of increase was, as I said, $3,110.
The formula's pretty simple. The number of years and the degree held equals the pay. Let's check out some of the new raises. For example, a teacher with a BA and 7 years experience will be making another $1,600 this year, and a teacher with 14 years in the district will take home about a $1,400 raise. In addition, the new contract eliminates a step in the salary scale, so teachers reach the top step faster. When the kids come back next Tuesday, teachers will be making more money. And some more good news is that officials say the taxpayers won't be paying it out of their pockets. In addition, student programs and facilities will continue to get their fair share. Carol Lambert, Action 4.
The parking lots surrounding OU's massive dormitories are already crammed with cars as the college students gear up for another semester. Classes begin Wednesday, and many pupils are trying to get moved in early to give their brains a few days off before hitting the books. Moving back to campus is an annual ritual, a time to pack one's possessions along with summertime memories into boxes for the fall migration. Back in the 60s, the in thing was to live in an old house or apartment off school property. But most cost-conscious students in the 80s opt for quarters on campus.
Yeah, it's better transportation, and you can walk to class. Like, if you live in an apartment, you have to ride the card bus, stuff like that, and better studying.
You're close to everything. You don't have to have transportation to get around. It's probably cheaper in some ways. You don't have to worry about your meals or taking care of a house or anything.
Most of the dorm residents will take advantage of the next 2 days to get their rooms in order so they'll be ready for some serious studying. Scott Wallace, Action 4 in Norman.
Did he get the gun?
Dr. Frank James is the latest department head to succumb to questioning by the legislature. Lawmakers are questioning his ability as mental health director. A special committee has been meeting all summer long, interviewing his employees in secret, many reportedly afraid of losing their jobs. But Representative Ross Duckett, who chairs the committee, says their investigation is not over yet.
A great deal of the testimony we've received would indicate some real problems within the mental health department. A high level of turmoil, some shambles, as it were, within the upper echelon. It would indicate, among other things, some difficulty in leadership. But the extent of the commissioner's jeopardy or trouble is really not within the responsibility of the legislative committee. We will share our information, but then the board, they have to make their decision based upon their knowledge and what we have shared with them.
In the meantime, the fate of Dr. James may rest on a series of interviews lawmakers plan to conduct with patients and members of their families at various mental institutions like Central State Hospital. Lawmakers plan to drop in unannounced. So, after a summer of investigation, Dr. Frank James still has a job. But the biggest part of the probe is yet to come. Bella Shaw, Action 4 at Central State Hospital in Norman.
A year-long investigation by the Oklahoma City Police Department has resulted in the suspension of one of their own men. 46-year-old Buddy Burns, a 20-year veteran with the Oklahoma City Police Department, is accused of taking bribes. Burns worked in the detective division. 5 years ago, he was suspended on bribery charges but was later cleared. Police spokesman Tom Mundy can't reveal any specific information about Burns' status, except to say he's in the hands of U.S. Attorney David Russell.
Sargent Burns was suspended by Chief Hagee yesterday afternoon as the result of a 12-month-long investigation by the Department Special Projects Unit. The suspension is the result of alleged briberies. The case record has been turned over to the U.S. Attorney's Office. For any further comment, we feel like those comments should come from Mr. Russell's office.
We checked with Russell for further details, but at this time he has no official comment. Carol Lambert, Action 4.
Sure. I'm singing with his friend next time, singing's against him. Liquor dealers.
I think the problem with the funding basically is a matter of Reagan economics, or what?
Well, I think it's probably the arguments they've had over the budget cuts have slowed down money coming through and money designated for certain programs. I believe they're having problems allocating the money without overspending the budget.
Is this causing any particular hardships for families in the Oklahoma City area that you serve?
Well, it certainly is. This program is mostly for the low-income aged people, and it certainly saves on their bills with the cost of energy as high as it is. It's one of the better programs we've had. When we weatherize a house, it's good for 365 days a year, summer and winter, and it will definitely hurt the elderly and the handicapped in this county.
This gas station at Southeast 29th and Eastern has been owned and operated by one man for more than 40 years. But today, Roy Steffi is not pumping gas and fixing tires.
Just start stacking stuff up there, and just any way that you can get it.
Last night's high-powered thunderstorm lifted the roof off of Steffi's gas station, leaving his workers a mess of spilled oil and scattered cans to clean up.
Was that very empty?
Clear skies today, but last night's storm featured high winds that seemingly took aim at the corner filling station, now reduced to rubble.
It's all over the street, clear across the pavement and everything. Of course, the electricity was off and the phone was off. Back end is tore down. It'll just take a lot of cleaning up, and a lot of work, and it'll take. And it's so hard to get anything done anymore, you know. And so you just have to get some contractors and go to bidding on it.
The only place Steffi can look to now is the insurance company. He figures damage is $35,000 to $40,000, a high price to pay for a storm that lasted but a few minutes. Larry Audis, Action 4, Southeast Oklahoma City.
This Monday, another 288 air traffic control students will arrive in Oklahoma City to begin their basic training, which takes anywhere from 17 to 20 weeks. The PATCO strike has forced the training center to accept the maximum number of students, as well as make room for even more. Many retired instructors have been called back to help with the extra load, which will come from the addition of a third training shift around the 1st of October.
Obviously, we will have to plan to run 3 shifts around the clock, and there are plans that call for it eventually. There is a possibility that such a third shift could start probably in October, depending upon the number of students who are sent in here through Washington and the regions for such training.
With the reduction in normal air traffic and the urgent need for controllers comes the speculation that FAA standards may be lowered to fill the quota. Right now, certification can take anywhere from 1 to 4 years, depending on the person and the training field involved. Norman Scroggins is in charge of controllers for the Oklahoma City area, and he says a rush job will not happen here or anywhere.
All of the phases of training are completed. They're very comprehensive, and they will not be shortcut. Accelerated, intensified, yes. Individuals certified on the basis of their performance and demonstrated ability, yes, we do that. Pilots are certified somewhat in the same way. It's based on the individual's background of experience and how quickly he perceives the job and can do the task, but no shortcutting.
Because of the strike, Scroggins says the FAA is under even closer scrutiny than usual, which he feels is another reason that loopholes in certification standards will not be tolerated. Carol Lambert, Action 4 at the Tinker Air Force Base.
got some good provisions in it, but essentially
Rod with a shoulder strap, I can't.
you're welcome. You know, sometimes when
My family, we were paying a
Go ahead.
third.
I think in terms of future tax cuts, it's going to depend a little bit on how the economy performs. If, you know, the president hopes, and I hope, and all of you hope, now that we've done it, you know, that what we did was right. I personally believe that. I supported the president's tax program wholeheartedly, and I believed in it. But obviously, if it doesn't work, there probably are not going to be future tax cuts. The good thing about the tax cut bill, in addition to the 25% reduction, is that it includes indexing for the first time, so that it isn't going to go just back up again, you know, but your tax rate will stay down.
The trouble began in the wee hours this morning when at least 2 suspects gunned down a man known as Big Jim behind Cody's nightclub in Harrah. This evening, officers found a spent rifle shell and a pool of blood in the club's parking lot. Earlier in the day, authorities had found the victim's burned-out van about 2 miles from the crime scene. At Harrah Police Headquarters, friends of the victim tearfully told police they had seen Big Jim just hours before he was shot. Information led officers to this bridge across the North Canadian River just outside of Harrah. It didn't take police divers long to retrieve a .44 caliber carbine from the water, allegedly thrown there by the murder suspects. Oklahoma County Sheriff's deputies are searching for 2 suspects in this lane. They expect to make an arrest in the case later tonight. Scott Wallace, Action 4 in Harrah.
President, the Lieutenant Governor.
The point is, there's adequate achieved with these after proceedings, and it's not being used. I would ask the Attorney General under the take some time, but the point is 120 days have gone by. Either the governor is ignorant of the statutes and the authority that he now possesses, or he has chosen to neglect that authority. With over 200 people involved in a scandal, he's never once asked the Attorney General to intervene on any of these items. I find that incredible.
Blaine County is the only county in the state where county commissioners who've agreed to plead guilty and accepting kickbacks are still on the job receiving their paychecks. Many of the county officials were unavailable for comment on the situation today, but we did find County Court Clerk Lorraine Mock in the office. She says Shorty Pettigrew and Monty Compton were fine people, easy to work with, and always most helpful to her and her department. But as to whether they should continue to be on the payroll, she had nothing to say.
I really just don't want to say.
Compton had been in the courthouse earlier this morning, but was out on business while we were there. District Attorney Earl Gerke says there's no legal reason why the 2 men in question can't carry on business until their resignation becomes effective next month. He added that Compton and Pettigrew have not yet been indicted, and until then, it's better for the county that they stay in office.
I see no objection to it. I can't condone what they've done. You understand that? But I think there's a great deal of confidence in them. There has to be a smooth transition of government. Government has to go on. We've got a number of bridges that have flooded out in July. These need to be completed. It just looks as though, I have no objection to it at all.
But do county residents feel that way? Well, some do and some don't.
I think it'd be all right to keep them on until the end of the year, until their time's out. Really, I don't know.
If they're guilty, they should resign.
No different. Somebody's shooting somebody, is it? It's against the law, isn't it?
You think they should go ahead with county business?
No. I think they should be kicked out.
Even though some people may not like it, it looks like Blaine County will have Pettigrew and Compton in the county courthouse until the middle of next month. Perhaps by then arrangements can be worked out for the election of new county commissioners, so business can continue as usual. Carol Lambert, Action 4 in Watonga.
I'm innocent. I didn't do this crime. I was found guilty, but I still didn't do it.
Him to put you to death.
A recent audit by a Fiscal Oversight Joint Committee has uncovered possible mismanagement and waste in the State Department of Mental Health. A large amount of the money in question is connected to payment for service contracts. I talked to Representative Ross Duckett today and asked him what the primary concerns are.
There's just a misuse of the consulting contract as a vehicle. There are apparently from the audit report examples of contracts being awarded to perform services that perhaps staff could have performed at no cost to the department. The bottom line here is that monies are being spent in activities that benefit perhaps the person holding the contract more than the mental health patients of the state of Oklahoma. That's really the bottom line.
Duckett says that based on the findings of the audit, he'll make several recommendations to the State Mental Health Board. Carol Lambert, Action 4 at the state capitol.
The Synthetic Fuel Corporation is set up to assist, not to do it themselves, but to assist the private sector in the development of liquids like petroleum or gas from some of your hydrocarbons such as coal, oil shales, and tar sands to increase or be an adjunct to our other conventional sources of energy. Actually, the oil and gas that we're burning today and the coal and so forth, those were made millions of years ago, and when those run out, they're gone. And this is an effort to stretch those out to the point where we do have renewable sources.
Two spades.
Three spades.
Three diamonds.
Four spades.
I pass.
Yeah. 6 hearts.
If you don't know any more about bridge than I do, you may not have recognized that as a bid. Well, it was, and there's been a lot of bidding going on the last few days in Oklahoma City. This is the site of the regional bridge tournament. Some 9,000 armchair athletes whose playing field is their mind and a small table. What is it about bridge that attracts 9,000 people to Oklahoma City?
Because it's a great challenge. Keeps your mind busy.
I find it very relaxing after working all week in the Army to try to get out to bridge tournaments occasionally. Meet a lot of nice people, and as I say, it's the most complex game in the world.
I enjoyed the people. They're quick-witted, fun to be around, and this game is just right for me as a competitive person.
Get all my hostility out.
The mental challenge.
Winning. Probably the most fascinating card game I've ever devised.
People like to play, they're really competitors. We have people that play that used to be in athletics. We have many athletes that play, and we have many people play that would have been in athletics except for something physically wrong with them.
Some of these bridge players are world champions. Others are just here because they want to play. But the people they meet here make them feel like they are all champions. Charles Schnitzer, Action 4 at the Regional Bridge Tournament.
Labor Day at PATCO headquarters in Oklahoma City is a gray day, still full of uncertainty for unemployed workers inside.
Good morning, PATCO.
A handful of fire controllers meet to remind each other their battle to work again is not over. Unemployed for more than a month now, surviving gets tougher and trickier each day. Labor Day tends to lose some of its holiday flavor when you don't know when you'll be a laborer again. The children of fire controllers know that something is not right at home, since they're spending much of their time with parents at union headquarters. But the mood continues to be optimistic.
It only can be improved. I think that the system will take a year or 2 years to even start to rebuild from just what has happened now. By the time we get back on the boards, recertify, get the equipment back into shape, go through the roughest portion of the air traffic season, which is coming up, bad weather, holiday travel, it's still the best country in the world. It always is. I've lived in the Philippines, and when this thing's all over, we'll all get together and pray and sing God Bless America.
810 miles to right of Victor 73.
Burley Camp and others here will continue to monitor the controller situation, those working and those not. He is one of 5 city controllers sentenced to 30 days behind bars after being found guilty of contempt of court. The ruling is being appealed. Ed Stewart, Action 4 in downtown Oklahoma City. Ed Stewart, Action 4 in downtown Oklahoma City.
Today I'm very happy to sign into law 3 acts that were passed during the special session of this past week of the legislature, in which we were dealing with some short-range solutions to the scandal that is surrounding the county commissioner's offices in the state of Oklahoma. We continue to look forward to offering long-range solutions as a result of the special task force that I've appointed and the legislative interim committee. But today, I want to thank the legislature for acting in a responsive manner in which they weighed the arguments about what could be done now and passed virtually unanimously all the requests that I made of them to deal with this problem in a short-range solution.